So I competed for Miss Canada in 2019. That was the first time I went back. And the reason why I actually went into this pageant is because it is a personality pageant.
Right.
What am I going to do to enhance and better perform next year? What do I need to do to work on? What is the feedback that I'm getting? Or what feedback do I want to give myself?
Right.
Sometimes as human, we look at opportunities where we don't necessarily get.
And winning the title was not just that you're going to get this crown, but it was more, as you mentioned, ke mental health issues jade ke aaj prevail karte where there's a lot of judgment.
I'd really like to just emphasize on the fact that no matter what it is in life, do what makes you happy, follow your dreams, follow your passions, and for parents out there, just be involved, be willing to listen. I think being able to listen and understand what your children want to do in life, what you want to do, because sometimes as adults, you might want to pursue something that you never got to.
ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਬੱਚੀ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਮਿਸ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦਾ ਖਿਤਾਬ ਜਿੱਤ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ। ਤਨਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਪਰਮਾਰ ਡੈਲਟਾ ਦੇ ਵਸਨੀਕ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਰਨੀ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਰਸੀਵੀਅਰੈਂਸ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਡਿਟਰਮੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਸ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਪੂਰੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਭਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਲੈਟਸ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਤਨਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਪਰਮਾਰ। ਤਨਪ੍ਰੀਤ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Thank you so much for having me.
ਵੈਲਕਮ। ਸੋ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਮੁਬਾਰਕਬਾਦ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਕਰਾਊਨ ਜਿੱਤ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਹੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਾਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ।
Thank you. I'm really excited.
ਵੈਰੀ ਨਾਈਸ। ਸੋ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਗਏ। ਆਈ ਵੁੱਡ ਲਾਈਕ ਟੂ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਫਰਮ ਹੇਅਰ ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ your personality depicts this ke you are having that perseverance, you have that determination to succeed, and despite having got rejected thrice you said no, I will again go and win this title. So ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜਜ਼ਬਾ ਆਇਆ, this interest in this particular field ਕਦੋਂ ਤੋਂ ਆਇਆ, ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆਇਆ?
So I competed for Miss Canada in 2019. That was the first time I went back. And the reason why I actually went into this pageant is because it is a personality pageant.
Right.
I grew up battling with a lot of my, battling with my mental health because I was constantly being really just confined by all the pressures of society and media, feeling that I had to look and be a certain way, the unrealistic beauty standards that are out there for women and men now. And, growing up having these insecurities really made me feel that I wasn't good enough. And to find a pageant that really focuses on who we are as individuals, our personalities, and what we want to advocate for in the community work that we do was something that really attracted me to Miss Canada. I went for the first and the second and the third time. I didn't necessarily win the title, but each experience was a room for growth for me.
Right.
I learned from each experience. I took each opportunity to ask myself, what am I going to do to enhance and better perform next year? What do I need to do to work on? What is the feedback that I'm getting? Or what feedback do I want to give myself?
Right.
Sometimes as human, we look at opportunities where we don't necessarily get to where we want to be as a sign of weakness or failure, but I don't look at it as failure. For me, it just motivated me to keep going.
Wonderful. It was a stepping stone every time, and you were determined that, yes, I have to win this title. And that winning the title was not just that you're going to get this crown, but it was more, as you mentioned, ke mental health issues jade ke aaj prevail karte where there's a lot of judgment. And especially ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, I'll talk about that later, but before that tell us a little bit about this pageant. As you said, it's a personality pageant, and Montreal ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਹੋਇਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗਏ, ਹੋਰ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕੰਪੀਟੀਟਰਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਸਨ ਤੇ like again this time ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ experience ਵੀ ਸੀ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ, but how was the kind of environment over there, and what kind of questions or what kind of things they're finding in someone to crown them Miss Canada?
So the Miss Canada pageant happens in Montreal, Quebec. It's been going on since 1946, so the longest standing pageant in Canada. And it is a few days of the way we go about it. So it started on Thursday, ended on Sunday. For 3 days, the girls in the pageant go through a bunch of activities, team building. They really judge you based on who you are as a person, your personality, how you present yourself. There's so many different criterias, but the biggest one is personality. And that's how you're judged throughout the days while you're interacting with the girls, the sponsors, organizers. That's a big part of the pageant. We have a portion of online voting that comes from public. So that's 15% of the votes. And then the remainder is your on-stage presence, how you carry yourself, how you answer the question and answer. So there's a bunch of things that they look at over a span of few days. Then the main day, there's different judges, and then you get judged on your stage presence, your confidence, how you speak, and They really focus on you. So it's a little bit of everything, but I really admire that they look at us as people on the inside, what we value, what we want to advocate for.
That's excellent. And your, of course, focus was on mental
health with a focus on societal media pressures, because I personally battled with perfectionism growing up, with the unrealistic beauty standards that is out there. It's only getting worse, not only for my generation, but the younger generation. And then as well as, just being able to navigate through those struggles that I went through. So that's why my platform really focuses on that.
Right. Born in Hong Kong into a Punjabi family, a Sikh family, typical Sikh family.
Yes.
As you grew, you're talking about the kind of circumstances that were around where everybody kind of has their own opinions, their judgments about some things. And especially when it comes to a girl in our families, many times, our parents are very protective, and the kind of environment where we grow at home, it's something different. Outside in the school and in the university, it's something different. So how was your growth and how did you battle all this?
I'm really grateful for a supportive family, and I think that was one of the biggest things that helped me get to where I am today, having that support system. But being in our South Asian community, I know that it's not always the case. Especially when there are women, and South Asian women to be specific, are pursuing things such as, whether it be acting, modeling, things that I've done in the past and wanted to get into the entertainment industry, broadcasting. Sometimes these things are not always looked in a positive limelight, and the purpose of me even talking about it and also doing what I do is because I want to break those stereotypes and that perception. Like, beauty pageants are typically looked at as beauty pageants. That's what the word, when I look at it, I don't even look at it as a beauty pageant, but that's what happens. And I would like to really showcase that there are pageants out there that look at your personality, who we are as individuals, that encourage us to do community work, and that was a big part of what I was doing. Throughout my upbringing, I was always very open with my parents and my family about what I wanted to pursue in my life. My biggest advice is being open with your family and your loved ones that are around you, so they can help support you better. And keeping them more involved. Sometimes, our parents may not know what, like my parents didn't know what a pageant was and what it involves. They just thought it's what you see on TV. So just keeping them in the loop, having them understand and keeping them involved really helped the whole process for me.
That's a very important point that you have touched, because in our community especially, beauty pageants are considered to be these kind of pageants. That's what it is. But the personality aspect, what you're talking about, is many times overlooked. So as you were growing, the pressures that you were facing, and you have touched a few, you are judged upon, you are looked upon, and everybody wants that perfection. So how was it, Tanpreet, that impacted you, and how did you started motivating yourself and started coming into the field where your objective was to prove them wrong, work with societies, helping people, helping especially girls understand who they are?
Great question. So with pageants, typically they're looked at as beauty pageants, but Miss Canada is not a beauty pageant, which is what made me actually participate in this pageant, the personality pageant. And what a part of a personality pageant is, what are you advocating for? What matters to you as an individual? What's your purpose in your life? What is your community involvement? What are you doing with all of that? So, of course, the last few years I've been working with a Canadian charity, Stigma-Free Mental Health Society, where I am an educator and speaker on mental health with students all over Canada. So I've been really working with them to advocate for my cause and share my personal journey that I went through. And then, of course, is being involved in the community with different causes that really matter to me, especially with the Canadian Cancer Society. And these are things that Miss Canada actually looks at and to see, as an individual, as people that we are. And I really admired that.
Mental health, as you said, is a major challenge, and it's becoming an epidemic now. And still, there is a taboo talking about this, and especially in our community. We don't want to talk about these issues. So, as I asked you, you were growing, there was a different culture at home, outside it's different. So these mental health challenges that people are facing, and especially the kind of pressure that youngsters today have, how do you describe that, and what do you suggest to them? How should they come out of their own, I would say the boundaries where they are and how to come out and talk about it.
ਘਰ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਥਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣੀ ਨਿੱਜੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਪਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਜੀਵਨ ਬਤੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਜੇ ਹੋਏ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਬਦਲਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਨਵੇਂ ਘਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਰੇਮਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ, ਡ੍ਰੇਪਰੀ, ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡੈਕੋਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਸੈਸਰੀਜ਼ ਤੱਕ, ਤੁਸੀਂ SK ਹੋਮ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਪਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਹਕੀਕਤ 'ਚ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰੋ ਸੰਦੀਪ ਕੌਰ 6048259295।
ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ? ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਦੇ ਓਨਰ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਉਦਾਹਰਨ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਾਰ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖ ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਮੋਟਰਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ ਸਰੀ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲੋੜ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜੀਂਦੇ ਟਰੱਕਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗਾਈਡੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸਪੇਸ, ਮੋਡੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਫਿਊਲ ਐਫੀਸ਼ੀਐਂਸੀ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੁਖੀ ਬਾਟ ਟਰੱਕ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਟਰੱਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਟੌਰ।
ਕੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰੀ, ਡੈਲਟਾ, ਰਿਚਮੰਡ, ਐਬਸਫੋਰਡ ਜਾਂ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵਾਂ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਨੋਵੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਰ, ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟਿਵ ਇੰਟੀਰੀਅਰ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਈਨਰ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਣ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਸਾਰ ਸਕਣ। ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਜਾਂ ਸੰਦੀਪ 6048259295 ਉੱਤੇ।
है जुल्म ढाने का अंदाज भी कितना हंसी, हमारी जान पर बनाई है जब जब उसने अंगड़ाई ली। कभी खामोश रहते हैं, कभी शोर होता है। मोहब्बत में शरारत का मजा कुछ और होता है। दिल को जज्बात का तोहफा, खामोशियों को बात का तोहफा, खूबसूरती में जड़ी नजाकत अदाओं की चांद से मुखड़े को चांद सा तोहफा।
भारत ज्वेलर्स, सच्चे प्यार की चमक जैसा। फाइल बिजनेस सेंटर सरी।
हर रंग है साडे को, हर मॉडल, हर एक दी अपनी वक्री पहचान। असीं एक परिवार हाँ, साडा कर्म है अगे वधाउणा, सफर नूं सौखा बनाउणा। बसंत मोटर्स, तुहाडे नाल, तुहाडे करके।
Yeah, I think one thing to start off with is that speaking up about your mental health or getting help is not a sign of weakness.
Right.
It is a sign of strength, and
Right.
it is very important to do, especially in our South Asian community. Unfortunately, sometimes it's looked down upon to talk about these things, or they're just not aware. There's no awareness. So bringing that awareness, having conversations about it is something that we should start off by doing.
Right.
That's something that I opened up about gradually, but within time, it took me a while to be able to even speak up about these things because I constantly had this pressure. When I was growing up as a young woman, I was also starting to feel this pressure about having to confined to these, these unrealistic standards all the time. And another thing that I realized, maybe not then, but now, is that even in our community, it's really important to be mindful of what you're talking about, how you're talking about things, especially with young women growing up and men too. Body image was something I struggled with, not loving myself in the way I looked, thinking that I wasn't good enough. And I noticed that in our culture, talking about the way we look is so common, especially when it's talking about your body, your weight. And these are common conversations that I grew up being around, where it was easy to make a joke or a comment about how a person looks, or you're identifying looking good by being skinny, or not looking good if you're not a certain way. And these are things that we have to learn to be so mindful about because it impacts our mental health. It's so impactful, and it can really cause a lot of damage. And that's something we need to be more aware of, is what we're talking about, and being more aware of the different kind of, impacts it has on our mental health and mental illnesses out there. So
so focus
really
is mostly on the outer looks, as you mentioned, but inside, what a person is going through is not looked upon by the people. So again, as you were struggling, you started involving yourself with different charities, with different philanthropic groups and other organizations. So how did that change, and what was your source of motivation?
I think my source of motivation was, one, learning to get over my own struggles, right? When you're going through your own challenges and struggles in your life, I think a big thing is being honest with yourself and then asking yourself how you want to overcome that. When I was getting my help and trying to get over the feelings of what I was doing, I also decided that I want to speak up more about it. I want to share my journey with others, be able to empower other people around me. And that's what led me to getting involved with an organization and a charity to be able to talk about these things. And now I'm a speaker and an educator, and I'm talking about these things. And every time I actually talk and present to students, in that moment, I finish my presentation, and it's a reminder to me on a daily basis that, wow, talking about these things really helps me self-reflect over and over again. It's a daily reminder that, it reminds me to just get in tune with myself, to check in with myself, to practice these self-help practices that I'm talking about on how you can support your mental health, and that it helps me support myself.
Right.
So it's a win-win situation. You're inspiring others, you're inspiring yourself. It's a daily reminder, and I think when it comes to our mental health, we all go through different journeys. Your mental health will be impacted differently than mine.
Right.
We all go through our own unique experiences, but it's important to check in with yourself, to make sure you're taking care of your mental health and do what you need to do to feel better.
Right. Having been rejected thrice did not demotivate you, and you were consistent and persistent that, yes, I want to win this championship for this particular cause, that you want to be an ambassador of, this mental health challenges that people are facing. But let me take you onto the stage at that time when the final judgment was to come and you were awaiting the results. What was going around in your mind, and how much were you prepared to accept whatever the result was?
So this time around, I went in with a different mindset. I told myself, I told my family that I'm going back because I wanted to give it another chance.
Right.
I went in with a different attitude this year. I went in with a positive mindset, not looking at it as win or lose. I kept reminding myself that it's a journey that I've been on self-development, self-growth. So I told myself on the stage too, no matter what the outcome is, I have to stick with what I believe in, and that's perseverance, dedication, and whatever's meant to be will be.
Right.
I just have to shine and be my true self and be honest with myself, speak from my heart, and just go about it that way. When they were about to announce the winner, at that point, of course, the nerves are there. You're so nervous. You just don't know what's going to happen. It feels like your whole life just blinks, right? In a flash of like a quick blink, and it's just what's going on. And when they announced my name, I was just so happy, but at the same time I was shocked. I was grateful, and it was a really unreal feeling. You know, when you work really hard towards something that really matters to you, and when something matters so much to you, it's such a great feeling, and all that hard work and the dedication, it meant a lot to me. And I just, in that moment, I thanked God, I thanked my family. In my head, I was just so grateful. And
wonderful. And who was the first person to receive a call?
My mom, because I didn't have my phone, and one of my good friends was outside watching me, so she came to the stage. I dialed my mom's number, and I said, "Can you please call my mom and tell her I won?" But my family was following the pageant on the live and keeping up to date with it, so they were really happy. And
wonderful.
They were the first
now
people.
that you have got this title, you have the crown, which is you are crowning right now. So what next? What is going to change in Tanpreet's life now with that motivation she had before to reach this destination? Now that you have this destination in your hand, what further are you planning?
I really hope to make the most of my year as Miss Canada, represent Canada, the organization, as well as my South Asian community, really getting involved with charitable organizations, institutions, educational institutions as well. So really advocating for the mental health, something that I'm really passionate about. Of course, emphasizing on my personal journey, really trying to combat the societal media pressures, really trying to embrace in self-love and body positivity. Those are things I really want to emphasize on throughout the year, working with different organizations and media as well. So it's going to be a busy year, and I'm really looking forward to it. At the end of the day, my goal is to just really inspire and empower people, and I hope my journey empowers others to never give up on their dreams, no matter what you're pursuing in your life. Just keep persevering, and you will get there.
Well, from our talk, you've given a lot of messages to the community, but specifically for the youngsters, what would be your message? Whatever career they want to pursue or whatever they like, what would be your message to them? And also to the parents, what would you like to say?
I'd really like to just emphasize on the fact that no matter what it is in life, do what makes you happy, follow your dreams, follow your passions, and for parents out there, just be involved, be willing to listen. I think being able to listen and understand what your children want to do in life, what you want to do, because sometimes as adults, you might want to pursue something that you never got to before in your life, but it's never too late. And I really encourage you all to embrace your true selves, embrace your uniqueness, and stay confident who you are, because you will shine if you just stay your true self, and anything is possible. Look at me as an example and you'll get there.
Wonderful. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah,
Congratulations
thank you.
once again and best wishes. And hopefully this year is going to be wonderful for you.
Thank you.
And you're going to do amazing things. You're going to inspire the community, and especially the youngsters, reach their destination, that where there is a will, there is a way.
Absolutely.
Thank you. ਸੋ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਤਨਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਪਰਮਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਨਕਰੇਜ ਕਰੀਏ ਜਿਸ ਵੀ ਫੀਲਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਚੌਥੀ ਵਾਰ ਗਏ ਸਨ ਇਸ ਫੀਲਡ, ਇਸ ਪੈਜੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਪੈਜੈਂਟ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਹੈ। ਆਮ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਬਿਊਟੀ ਪੈਜੈਂਟਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੈ, ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਪੈਜੈਂਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੀ, ਜਿਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਜੱਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਫੋਕਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿੱਤੇ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਜੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰਸ ਫੇਸ ਕੀਤੇ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਓਵਰਕਮ ਕੀਤਾ। ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਸੀ, ਫਰੈਂਡਸ ਦੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਮਿਲੀ, ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੀ ਡੈਡੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਾਮਯਾਬ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਵੇਅਰ ਦੇਰ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਵਿਲ ਦੇਰ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਵੇ, ਐਂਡ ਸ਼ੀ ਹੈਜ਼ ਪ੍ਰੂਵਡ ਇਟ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੁਬਾਰਕਬਾਦ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਹਨ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਮਿਸ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦਾ ਖਿਤਾਬ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਕੋਲੰਬੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਮਾਣ ਹੈ।